Last month, I earned $900 from Chase Bank doing almost nothing. And a month before that, another $300 from Capital One. Major banks are literally paying me hundreds of dollars just to open accounts and move money around. But here's the problem that most people run into. These bank bonuses require something called a direct deposit. And if you don't work a traditional 9-to-5 job, then you're stuck. Maybe you're self-employed, maybe you're a freelancer, or maybe you just don't want to mess with your paycheck settings to chase a bonus. What they don't know is that you can fake it legally. I'm going to show you 5 real ways to trigger these bonuses without a traditional paycheck. These aren't tricks or schemes, they are legitimate workarounds that thousands of people use every single day to unlock bank bonuses. I'm talking about money sitting on a table that most people don't even know exists. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to qualify for any bank bonus even if you never received a traditional paycheck. And the best part, you can start doing it today. So before we jump into the 5 methods, let's quickly talk about what banks actually mean when they say direct deposit. In simple terms, a direct deposit is an electronic transfer of money from an employer or government agency straight into your bank account. This includes your paycheck, social security payments, or other government benefits. Now, here's what doesn't count. Person-to-person payments like Zelle, Venmo, or Cash App, mobile check deposits, wire transfers, or just moving money between your own accounts. At least, that's what they say in the fine print. But here's where things get interesting. Some banks are surprisingly flexible on what they code as a direct deposit when it comes to welcome bonuses. And that's exactly what we're going to be taking advantage of. So let's get into the 5 methods that you can use to trigger these bonuses without a traditional paycheck. The first method is probably the easiest, but it doesn't work with every bank. I'm talking about simple transfers from your existing bank accounts or brokerage accounts. Now technically this shouldn't count as direct deposits, but some banks code these transfers as direct deposits anyways, especially for welcome bonuses. Here's the key thing that you need to know. It has to be a push transfer and not a pull transfer. Now, what's the difference? A push transfer is when you log into your existing bank account and send money to your new account. You're pushing money out. A pull transfer means that you're logging into your new bank account and requesting money from your old account. Essentially, you're pulling money in. Only push transfers work with this method. Let me give you a real example. Let's say that you want to grab the $400 bonus from Wells Fargo. You would have to log into your Chase account and add your new Wells Fargo account as an external account, and then send a transfer from Chase to Wells Fargo. That's a push transfer, and for some banks, that would trigger the bonus. The same thing works with brokerage accounts like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, or even Robinhood. You log into your brokerage account, link your new checking account, and push transfer from your brokerage to your bank. I actually used this exact method with Fidelity to transfer a US bank bonus, and it worked perfectly. Now, I have to be honest with you, this method is hit or miss. It may work great with some banks, and it doesn't work at all with some others. It's worth trying because it's the easiest option by far. And if that doesn't work, don't worry, because the next method that I'm about to show you is way more reliable. The second method is one of my favorites because it works almost every single time. And I'm talking about transfers from a business checking account. Now, before you click away, thinking that you need some huge company, hear me out. Anyone can get a business checking account. Here's why this method is so effective. When you transfer money from your business account to a personal account, it looks exactly how companies pay their employees. Banks see this and code it as a legitimate direct deposit. So here's how to actually set it up. First, you would need to register your business name with your state. Usually this costs between $50 to $150 depending on where you live. And here's a little hack. You don't have to register it in the state where you live. You can pick a state with lower fees if you want. Second, you will need something called an EIN. That stands for Employer Identification Number. It's basically a social security number, but for your business. The good news is that you can get this completely free from the IRS's website, and it takes about 10 minutes or so. Once you got those 2 things, you can open up a business checking account. I recommend accounts like from Novo or Bluevine since they don't charge monthly fees, they don't require minimal balances, and they approve accounts really quickly. A few years ago, I opened up my Bluevine account within a few hours. Once your business account is set up, you simply link your personal checking account and transfer money to yourself. From the bank's perspective, it looks like an employer paying wages, and boom, that counts as a direct deposit. But here's where things get even better. The third method that I'm about to share you is actually backed by the US government. This is probably my favorite method because it's 100% legitimate and works even with the strictest banks. I'm talking about Treasury Direct withdrawals. TreasuryDirect.gov is the official US government website where you can buy Treasury bills, also called T-bills. Now, I know that sounds complicated, but stay with me because this is actually super simple. Here's how it works. You buy a Treasury bill for a short period, like 4 weeks. The government then pays you back slightly more than what you paid when it matures. For example, I recently bought $600 worth of T-bills for $597. 4 weeks later, the government sends me back $600. So why do we care about this? Because when that money comes back to your bank account, banks recognize it as a government payment. and government payments definitely count as direct deposits. I recently used this exact method to trigger a $300 bonus from Chase. And Chase is known for being super strict about what counts as a direct deposit, and it worked perfectly. So here's the basic process. You create an account on treasurydirect.gov, then you link your new bank account. You buy a 4-week T-bill. When it matures, the money gets sent back to your bank account. And that's it. The bank sees payments from the US Treasury Department and it codes it as a qualifying direct deposit. This method is incredibly reliable because it's a real government payment, not some workaround that may get flagged. Now the first 3 methods are solid, but the 4th method that I'm about to show you take things up the notch. Because it's a method that sounds too simple to work, but it absolutely does when you do it correctly. What I'm talking about is regular ACH transfers between your own bank accounts. But there is a specific way to set this up so it actually triggers the bonus. Most banks say in their fine print that transfers between your own accounts don't count as direct deposits. And technically, that's true. But here's the hack. If you set up recurring transfers that mimic a real paycheck schedule, some banks will code them as direct deposits anyways. Here's how you exactly do this. You log into your existing bank account, you set up a recurring transfer to your new account every 2 weeks, just like a regular paycheck. Make sure that you're doing this on Fridays because that's when most people get paid. Set it up for at least 3 to 4 transfers because this makes it look like you're getting consistent payroll deposits instead of some random money movements. The key here is consistency. Banks are looking for patterns that match real employment. So if it's just 1 transfer, that looks random, but 4 transfers every week on Friday, that looks more like a paycheck. I tested this method with a Citibank account and it worked. The transfers come through and the bonus is posted a few weeks later. Now, this method isn't reliable as business checking or Treasury Direct methods, but it's worth trying if those other options seem a little bit too much work. And speaking of work, the 5th method that I'm about to share with you is actually the most legitimate one of all. Because this is the most straightforward method, but it only works if you have your own business. I'm talking about setting up real payroll and paying yourself as an employee. Now, if you're thinking that this sounds complicated, it's actually easier than you might think. You can use payroll services like Gusto, QuickBooks Payroll, or ADP. These platform handles everything for you. You set up your business in their system and add yourself as an employee. You process payroll just like any other company would. The money comes from your business account to your personal account as a legitimate payroll deposit. This isn't a hack or a workaround because this isn't an actual direct deposit from an employer. It's just that you're both the employer and the employee. This method is 100% guaranteed to work with any bank bonus because it's exactly what banks are looking for. The only downside is that you need to have a legitimate business set up. And running payroll comes with some costs, paperwork, and potential tax implications. But if you're already self-employed or running a side business, this is by far the cleanest way to qualify for your bank bonuses. Plus, paying yourself through payroll can actually have some tax advantages depending on how your business is structured. So there you have it, 5 proven methods to create qualifying direct deposits without a traditional 9-to-5 job. Now before you start running out and start opening bank accounts, let me give you a few important reminders. First is that these bonuses are taxable income. You will get a 1099 form at the end of the year, so plan for that when tax season rolls around. Second is to keep your accounts open for at least 6 months, but some banks will claw back the bonus if you close too early. And third, you want to pay attention to something called check systems. It's like a credit report, but for bank accounts. If you have negative marks like unpaid overdrafts or bounced checks, you might get denied when you apply for new accounts. So you want to keep your banking history clean. And finally, don't try to do all of these methods at once unless you have multiple income sources to work with. Pick 2 or 3 banks that match your comfort level, set up your direct deposit right away, and keep good records of deadlines and requirements. The system works when you work the system strategically. So now you know exactly how to fake a direct deposit and unlock any bank bonus even without a traditional paycheck. But here's something that I didn't tell you at the start of this video. Knowing how to create direct deposits is completely useless if you don't know which bank bonuses are actually worth your time. Because not all bank bonuses are created equal. Some will give you amazing returns with minimal effort, others will make you jump through multiple hoops for barely any money. I just made a video breaking down the exact banks that I'm targeting right now. I'm talking about bonuses ranging from $300 all the way up to $900. I will show you the exact requirements, the easiest accounts to open, and how to maximize your returns with the least amount of work. Click on this video right here if you want to see my complete bank bonus strategy. I'll see you in the next one.